Some exciting days may be ahead for the silver market. The ride is about to become crazy. How about we have a look around? Truthfully, the market has been absolutely wild recently, but according to what I'm about to reveal, things might get much faster very soon. On top of that, I believe the second piece of information I'm about to provide with you will be the icing on the cake that might genuinely shock the silver market. Silver has had a great run recently. Since the market's behavior from day to day is so unpredictable, I feel compelled to say this first. Currently, silver is down. As I make this video in the middle of the night, a minor adjustment is currently being made. While red numbers have been absent for some time, silver has fallen slightly. The occurrence of that may persist. There may have been a consolidation by the time you view this video, but I still believe what I'm going to tell you is true, because a lot of individuals are warning us about some very critical things happening. Among them is profits plus ID. However, the situation in China is another factor to consider. A major Chinese silver ETF was stopped down just before China's holiday was to end. This occurred before to the trading season for the holidays. Therefore, the markets might and likely will be thrown for a loop once the Chinese markets reopen. It will probably happen either today or tomorrow. I believe it's an 8-day vacation, although I could be completely mistaken. We should, however, monitor the silver market activity on the Shanghai Gold Exchange and its futures exchange since it is imminently approaching. We are closely monitoring that situation since global events can be influenced by China, particularly their heavy mining of silver. We Americans rely on their products and services, which they continue to manufacture in large quantities. Silver is also being amassed by an increasing number of Chinese citizens. Accordingly, such is the context of my upcoming remarks, which will cover both China and American affairs. Among exchange-traded funds, ETFs, the SLV stands head and shoulders above the others. It is JP Morgan's child. Thanks to the famous fraud case we covered on this channel, we have a good grasp on JP Morgan. For the vast majority of that case's duration, a shift has occurred, and I've previously mentioned it. Individuals are taking long positions rather than short ones in the past and in the present. While not novel, it does provide background information for the current situation. One reason silver prices have risen is that more and more people are purchasing it. Squeezing out the shorts is becoming increasingly common as the price rises. The rising prices plus the fact that, as reported in this post by Bob Coleman, the cost of borrowing to short SLV shares has increased to 9.27%, while the number of shares that can be borrowed has remained same, indicate that it is exerting significant pressure on the market overall. What this means is that it is dealing with something completely novel, zero or nearly zero. Considerable pressure is being exerted on these short sellers, as evidenced by the dramatic increase in SLV ETF short borrowing fees since October 6th, when shares were practically unavailable for borrowing. Taking profits now would provide a temporary respite for some, but given what happened the last 2 times the market fell, I doubt it will endure. It wasn't long at all. After a slow start, it improved dramatically before regaining its footing and even winning a few games. So I'm assuming the march to $50 is going to happen. Nevertheless, there will be problems. Even then, there will be skepticism, but I think we can overcome it since they have never been there before. For the same logic that caused gold to do so. The price of gold is constantly setting new records. Truthfully, it's the sole rare metal experiencing price appreciation at the moment. This increase, which we witnessed tripling from 2.5% only a few days ago, is in line with reports that real silver reserves are shrinking while retail demand is soaring. It's consistent with what we observe from Scottsdale, another major dealer of rare metals. More people are placing orders with Scottsdale Mint, and costs are rising accordingly. And in February of the year 2025, a comparable event did take place. The current events are but the beginning of what is to come. It was at 11.05% when the loan fee peaked, and we did indeed see it. Despite its ineffectiveness, I believe that did initiate a reaction. Many predicted that silver's price would rise, and that prediction came true. They began to rise sharply in March the following month. In my opinion, that was a factor. However, this is expected during the squeeze. Several levels of pressure are being exerted by the industrial market. Industrial bars such as these 10,000-ounce ones and raw silver bars such as these 15-kilogram ones are the objects that are being struck. They also accept things for shipment. What I'm going to say will genuinely rock the silver market to its foundation, especially when you consider the massive quantities of physical silver in the LBMA and COMEX. More and more people are starting to see it. I think so. Witnessing this unfold is just extraordinary. From what I can see, Scottsdale Mint sells to both individual consumers and large bullion dealers like Summit Metals, from whom I purchased this bar as a channel sponsor. They are thus very important. It's obvious Silver Eagle prices are starting to climb again when you consider that with what's happening with these eagles. Who could have imagined? Well, folks, we're here now. In fact, before to tonight's small decline, some venues were paying $49 which is significantly more than spot, and others might be paying close to $50 for them. If you want to know what's happening, you should follow the Silver Eagle currency. Big crates of these Silver Eagles were sold out. According to some witnesses, the monster boxes of Silver Eagle are no more, along with a decrease in the quantity of physical bullion that is accessible. That would be a game sure. Due in part to this, the all-time high in 2011 was 49.5. It is late in this ascent that we are now starting to notice it. The market could skyrocket as a result of that. That is to say, silver's price might rise sharply from both ends and hit $50 or more. That's a possibility in my opinion. In addition, keep in mind that I don't say it casually. Perhaps I'm mistaken in the end. I remain confident that this will be successful despite the fact that I'm nearly willing to place a wager that the silver market is currently experiencing a small pullback. Currently, more factors are pointing to an increase in the price of silver than to a decrease. However, eventually everything will return to its usual state. All of that presupposes that a resolution to the closure cannot be reached. Just so you know, I believe the markets will sort themselves out after the shutdown is over because everyone wants stability, or at least a little bit more than what we have now. Then it will be accomplished. As a result, additional buyers will enter the market, which would temporarily reduce demand for rare metals. After that, it may regress and remain stationary for some time. Without that, I predict that prices will continue to rise, albeit at a slower rate. By year's end, I'm still sticking with my revised prediction that silver will be $51 per ounce. That seems doable to me. A lot of others are hopeful too. Although it is bullish, I find it to be too optimistic. We'll see what happens. Being said that, I think it's time for this news to end, particularly the reports about rising borrowing fees and the lack of transactions. The number of accessible shares has nearly dropped to zero due to the lack of movement in the shares. Rising silver prices are a very strong indicator that a crunch is imminent. Personally, I feel that way. Use the comments section below to share your thoughts. In the future, you may expect to have a great time. This is awesome. I was surprised it happened so quickly. Silver is now very near $50. For that reason, it is intriguing. It has been an insane journey when I'm unable to continue. There will soon be a shipment of silver. I will demonstrate that once it get here. We will simply adapt to events as they unfold. Aside from that, it's our only option. Feel free to tell me what you think in the area below. My sincere wish is that you have gained some insightful knowledge from this video. Please subscribe, like, share, and rate the video. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch.